Next on the news, before school lets out, the kids at Divine Wisdom Catholic Academy went into the podcast studio one last time and were joined by a special guest.
It was very interesting to talk with the young people and to be interviewed by them.
Catholics in Chicago celebrated the first American Pope over the weekend. The Holy Father, who also hails from the Windy City, sending this message to young people.
The world looks to you as you look around yourselves and says, we need you.
Plus, these kids are now published authors. Their short stories are part of a book that took months to create. I'm Katie Vasquez. Currents News starts right now. Catholic Academy have been making their voices heard. Earlier this year, the Douglaston Queens kids started a podcast talking about their everyday experiences in the classroom. But the students recently had a mic drop moment, getting a long-awaited guest in their studio. One last mic check as Divine Wisdom Catholic Academy records its final Voices of Divine Wisdom podcast for the school year.
Weeks ago, and the homily was incredible.
And these students are ending this season with a bang, bringing on special guest and podcast host himself, Bishop Robert Brennan.
Thank you. They had great questions and great interest and a good amount of knowledge.
It's a collab that's been brewing since the kids started their podcast earlier in the year during Catholic Schools Week.
For it to, come to fruition was so exciting. It cements all that we're doing here, and it just validates all that we're doing around, keeping Christ at the center of what we do.
That part of the world
Bishop Brennan says this is an example of the quality education that Catholic schools provide.
The schools are about the education and the formation of the whole person. Following of the gospel, our faith is using this new media is a great opportunity.
How can young people grow closer to God? And
these 8th graders had the chance to ask the tough questions.
When I asked him about what keeps him grounded in times of turbulence, he answered with I pray to Mother Teresa, I pray to certain saints, and I was like, you know what, that's something I can do.
And as they prepare to move on to high school, Bishop Brennan offered some advice.
I always try to say, always stay close to the Lord, always stay close to Christ. Count on him as a friend.
Words they will remember even after the mics turn off.
I liked about how much Bishop Brennan knew and how he knew that God was always going to be there for us. Even when we're in times of despair, he was really believing in everyone.
The podcast has been so popular, there is a waiting list of students that want to take part. The principal hopes to explore more topics and include additional guest speakers for next school year. You can find Divine Wisdom Podcast called again Voices of Divine Wisdom on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you stream. You can also listen to Bishop Robert Brennan's podcast called Big City Catholics on podcast.dioceseofbrooklyn.org. You can also search for it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. This weekend, the hometown of the first American Pope celebrated the Holy Father. Tens of thousands of Chicago faithful gathered for a Mass in honor of Pope Leo XIV, who was born in the Windy City. The shepherd of the Archdiocese of Chicago, Cardinal Blaise Cupich, celebrated the liturgy at Rate Field, which is home to the pontiff's favorite baseball team, the Chicago White Sox. During the Mass, Pope Leo sent an 8-minute message to his hometown, where he mainly addressed the young people present, telling them they are the future of the Universal Church.
The world looks to you as you look around yourselves and says, we need you. We want you to come together to share with us in this common mission as church and in the society of announcing a message of true hope and of promoting peace, promoting harmony among all peoples.
Before the Mass, Cardinal Cupich invited up the kids of Our Lady of Mount Carmel Academy, who went viral for creating a mock conclave. Among those in the stands at Rate Field was a Diocese of Brooklyn parishioner. Sal Isabella from St. Thomas the Apostle Church in Woodhaven, Queens, flew to Chicago specifically for the celebration for Pope Leo. While there, he visited this mural, which marked where the Holy Father sat the last time he was at the stadium to see the 2005 World Series. He also got a picture with a cutout of the pontiff. Sal spoke to Currents News about the gathering and says while in Chicago, he was able to connect to the American Pope in unexpected ways.
As soon as I got to the stadium itself outside, I met a bunch of locals. I actually met a woman who went to school with one of the Pope Leo's family members. And she was telling me a whole nice story about him and how nice he is.
Sal hopes to see Pope Leo in person in Rome in the future. Recently, Pope Leo delivered some long-awaited news for Catholics around the world. Blessed Carlo Acutis finally has a canonization date. The Italian tech whiz will be made a saint on September 7th. The ceremony was originally scheduled for April 27th during the Jubilee of Teenagers, but was postponed following Pope Francis's death. Acutis is known for his devotion to the Eucharist and for creating an online exhibition of Eucharistic miracles. You can learn more about the soon-to-be first millennial saint during a special week of programming coming up soon. Currents News is taking a break the week of the 4th of July, but don't worry, there's still lots of great programming. Just some of the highlights, we take a look at Pope Leo's journey from Chicago to Rome. Plus, as schools let out across the Diocese of Brooklyn, we are celebrating Catholic education. And as I mentioned, a deep dive into Blessed Carlo Acutis will be back on Monday, July 7th. Also this weekend, kids around the country honored their dads for Father's Day. One Queens parishioner is helping his fellow fathers create memories all year round by putting his memories with his kids on the page and creating stories that can help bring other families closer during bedtime reading.
Cousin Trisha drew those pictures of you guys.
These days, Michael Schul doesn't read to his teenage children, Nate and Emma, as much. But that's how his career as an author started. When Nate was born, Michael would read to him at night, but found a lot of the books became stale.
And there I am holding a 6-month-old in my arms and thinking, this baby's not listening to me.
While attending a Boston College reunion in 2007, inspiration struck.
I'll get a book about Boston College, I'll read that to this kid every night, and it'll be fantastic. It'll be something that Daddy wants to read to my son. And I went to the bookstore, and there was nothing there.
So he decided to write his own and penned My Daddy Loves Boston College Football.
I thought there was a market for a book about things that me as a dad wanted to do with my kids.
Michael didn't stop there. He now has 7 books, 6 of which celebrate a different college football team, and one story about the Bronx Zoo.
I included my kids in the book then to try to kind of keep them a part of the story.
Despite the different settings, one theme remained the same.
I really wanted to write things that dads wanted to read to their kids.
Hey, here we go.
His 2 kids now say the books hold fond memories, both on and off the page.
I appreciate going to the football games. It was fun for me, and it was a good time to spend with my dad.
I remember that my dad would read it to us with me, my brother, and my mom, and he showed us that we were all like a character in the book, so it helped me relate more because I can't really relate to football.
Giving dads everywhere that chance to create a special bond.
I was just hoping that this would be a little bit extra incentive for the reading part of it and for the dad to get involved in that aspect of their child's upbringing.
In the future, the American Martyrs parishioner hopes to write more children's books, as well as stories about faith. You can buy all 7 of his works on Michael's website, readtogetherbooks.com. Some Ozone Park kids can also now call themselves published authors. 4th graders at Our Lady of Perpetual Help Catholic Academy launching their very own book called A Tapestry of Tales. It's a compilation of short stories from each of the 14 students. After 2 months of writing, editing, and illustrating, the young authors were able to open physical copies of their book for the first time on Thursday, proudly turning the pages with their parents. After reading their stories to classmates, family, and teachers, the kids received certificates and even a published author's crown, capping off a joyful celebration of creativity and hard work. That is this Currents News update. I'm Katie Vasquez. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.